So, lads, in what could potentially be big news for the Indiana Fever if they are smart about it, a very, very good backup point guard just opened up for them. A very, very good backup point guard. And again, apologies about if there's any issues with volume or anything. As you guys can tell, I am in location number 47 over the last few weeks. Like, it is, the next couple of weeks are going to be crazy. Like, I'm going to be everywhere. I'm in the process of moving. Just everything is kind of crazy. So there'll be videos recorded on, there might be videos being recorded on freaking AirPods where it sounds like I'm underwater. But yeah, Sevgi Uzun has been cut by the Phoenix Mercury. Why did the Phoenix Mercury cut Sevgi Uzun? Because she's gone to Eurobasket. It's as simple as that. Because they signed Haley Jones to a rest of season hardship, they pretty much had to cut Sevgi Uzun because she's gone to Eurobasket. So you might be looking as like, what about all the other players for Phoenix? But I'm like, one, Monika Komakani, people are trying to say that she's European. She's Cameroon. She's not European. As well as that, Kitty Alaksa is Latvian. Latvia almost lost to Ireland. And ironically, when Latvia played Ireland, the best player on the floor was Claire Melia, who's Irish, who's also the best player on the floor against Dominique Malonga. To be fair, Claire, I cannot believe a team did not get Claire on for a training camp contract, which is crazy. But Sevgi Uzun is available, and it's funny. You can just look. You can look up her stats and what she's done, and you're like, okay, her stats aren't great. Her stats aren't great. Nothing's great. But what Sevgi Uzun is, she's 5'10". She's not undersized at the one. She's a pass first point guard. She can guard, and she is used to playing on teams with better players there. She is very, very used to that. So if you look at how she's gotten on playing with Fenerbahce, who are arguably, like, the Fenerbahce would be the fourth seed in the WNBA. If you guys don't know who's on this team, it's like Gabby Williams, Kayla McBride, Emma Messaman, obviously Uzun, Tina Charles is on this team, Badian's on this team. Who else do they have this year? Because I know Ariel Atkins literally was on it and got cut. She got cut. But they had Julie Alamond as well, who's a really good backup point guard. She's obviously, the Sparks aren't going to let her go. And obviously, look, Uzun, as said, she's going to Eurobasket. So they brought in Haley Jones to replace her, realistically. And they just got rid of her. They got rid of her. And I think that's going to happen to quite a few teams when there are players going to Eurobasket, that they're going to just get rid of them. I'll be interested to see what the Valkyries do, because the Valkyries are losing a lot of players to Eurobasket. Are there any players, they're not getting rid of Janelle Salone. They're not getting rid of Salone. Could they get rid of Judy Van Loo? Maybe. I think Uzun's probably just because of her size to directly back up Caitlin's probably more of a better fit. And again, whatever system that Stephanie White wants to run, these players overseas are better equipped to play fast, especially if you've played for Fenerbahce. That is the tippity top. That is the top level of ball that you can play at outside of the WNBA. And by the way, up until a year ago, Fenerbahce was the top team in the world. Up until Unrivaled, it was the best team in the world, period. You had Emma Messaman, you had Fee, you had Kayla McBride, you had Alyssa Thomas, you had the year before, you had Stewie. It was considered, after all the Russian situation, it was the top team in the world. And she was their starting point guard. She's been their starting point guard for quite a bit. Her and Julie Alamond kind of share that starting point guard role. And look, do I think she's good enough to be a starting point guard in the WNBA? No. The Dallas Wings showed that last year. Obviously, a bit of a slow start to the season for the Mercury, where, in fairness, still averaging 2 assists a game, not doing anything major. But last season, 20 minutes a game, 4.5 points per game, not great shooting, not great offensively, but a very good passer and very good defender. And look, she's somebody that is better than options that are out there. And if she wasn't better than options that were out there, she would not be on the Fenerbahce team. Whatever about overseas teams, this is the one team where you are unless you are a star player, you are not on this team. Dominique Malonga is playing with these next year. It is just a given. If you are on this Fenerbahce team, you are one of the top players in all of Europe. Obviously, look, she is Turkish, which helps as well. They have Turkish players there. You've got Niara Sabali, Kayla McBride, Julie Alamon, Tina Charles, Badian. and Ariel Atkins was on this team. If you're playing good minutes for this team, you're one of the top players. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And she's been with that team for a couple of years. The Mercury getting rid of her is a perfect backup point guard. She's going to guard. She's not as bad as her shooting percentages suggest, but again, on low volume, anyone can shoot well or anyone can shoot bad on low volume. We saw it with Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull was a 20% three-point shooter for a career, got nuclear hot, became 47%, and then figured out how to shoot again. You'll just never realize what can happen. So I just want to check out her actual stats on the year in general. So on the season, 30% from 3, 50%, 40% from the field, 50% from 2. It's not bad percentages, playing at the next highest level of ball. And look, a much better option than bringing in a Serena Sundell, a much better option than keeping Ari McDonald. I like Ari McDonald. I actually think she's going to be good in Caitlin's absence. But looking at an actual backup point guard for Caitlin, like Colson's not that. So, and you need someone that can play with Caitlin. Colson can't play with Caitlin. I like Sevgi Uzun has played with MMA Simon. Sevgi Uzun has played with Nafisa Collier. She has played with a lot of the top players in the world. She was the starting point guard for the Dallas Wings last year. Like that has to mean something. She was the Wings starting point guard last year. And albeit like the Wings weren't very good, she was still their starting point guard for quite a lot of the year. She's a good defender. She's a really good passer. And she knows how to run the show. She's an actual point guard. Ari McDonald's not a point guard. She's not an actual point guard. She's not. She's not a point guard. Grace Berger's not a point guard. Celeste Taylor's not a point guard. Serena Sundell's a point guard, but she's not good enough. Deja Kelly's not a point guard. Honestly, the easiest thing to do is just bring over Uzun. That's the easiest thing to do. It's probably the smartest thing to do. There's no risk involved in it. At worst, you are going to get a very good backup point guard who's not quite good enough to start, as was seen last year. And that's ideal. She's been cut. The Mercury have gotten rid of her. And I don't think the Mercury fans are too happy about that for what the season started. She was playing well. You can look, and if you watch the Mercury game, she's been fine. She hasn't scored well. She's been fine when she's been on the floor. The Mercury have been a really good team this year. Surprise package. I think they're 5-2 through 7 games. She's been very good when she's been on the floor. So it's not like you can quote box scores to me and just say, oh, she's been bad. No, she's been a really solid rotational piece for a team that is 5-2. And the only reason they cut her is because she's leaving for the guts. She's leaving till the start of July from now. She's gone. The start of July is when players are coming back from Eurobasket. So obviously, a lot of players are going to be leaving soon. Like Julie Van Loo's going to be leaving soon for the Valkyries. Janelle Salon might be going soon. I don't know what her plan is. I don't know if she's going to be playing in Eurobasket. But there are some teams that are going to just keep a roster spot for them when they come back, and there's other teams that are going to be ruthless. And the Mercury are going to be ruthless with who is a very good point guard. Again, not a starting level point guard by any means. But if you're looking at backup ones, she's not bad. She can play defense, she can pass, and she's not that, again, low volume as a shooter last year. She can score if needed. And that's what the team needs. A pass-first point guard who's able to look left and look right and plays with her head up. That's literally what the team needs, and can defend. That player doesn't really exist. Celeste Taylor can defend. She's not a real point guard. Grace Berger can't really defend. She's more of a 2 guard. I think she would have fit in Stephanie White's system as this off-the-ball, mid-range pull-up shooter. But Sevgi Uzun plays with her head up. She can run the PNR when Caitlin's not there. She will pass the ball to Aaliyah Boston. That is a big thing. She spent this year, successfully enough, passing the ball to Emma Mason, passing the ball to Tina Charles. She will pass the ball to Aaliyah Boston, unlike anyone else in the team. She'll pass the ball to Aaliyah Boston. She will guard the other team's best point guards and do a pretty decent job at that. And she's got a little bit of size. Look, is she going to be a game changer? No. But the Fever can afford to bring her in post Eurobasket. She clearly wants to play in the WNBA. So why not? Why not? She's a much, much, much better option than keeping Ari McDonald. Ari McDonald is not is Kelsey Mitchell. She's Kelsey Mitchell, a slightly better passing Kelsey Mitchell. She's Kelsey Mitchell. And she's 5'6". Ari McDonald's not bad, but she's Kelsey Mitchell. You've got all of these other players. Sid Colson is a comedian. You've actually got a baller. You've got a ball player who is playing currently for the top team outside. Even though obviously they didn't win EuroLeague this year, it's Fenerbahce. She's used to playing in and around stars. She plays defense, and she was a starter last year. So I just don't see there being a problem here. And she was a pretty good contributor through 7 games for a team that's 5-2. This was, I think, the Mercury jumping the gun a little bit. I think maybe putting a bit too much trust in Haley Jones, and maybe them just saying, you know what, we'd rather get rid of her so that we can replace her for this month rather than wait for her to come back. However, the Fever don't have that luxury. The Fever don't have a backup point guard. The Fever don't have a bunch of players that can kind of fill in and play a little bit of point. They don't have an Alyssa Thomas who can play minutes to 1. They don't have a Nicole McCanny. Even Haley, they don't have a Haley Jones. They don't have a Satu. They don't have a Kat Copper coming back. They don't have a Lexi Hell. They don't have a Katrin Westbell. They don't have a Kitty Alexa. Like, the Fever do not have players. I don't know why I said Satu. Just get rid of Satu in that conversation. The Fever do not have a bunch of high IQ players outside of Leah Boston and Caitlin Clark. So it's hard for them to get things to work. But you've got a super high IQ point guard who will play defense, who will pass, and who will make sure the ball gets into Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston's hands if she's off the ball. It's a no-brainer. The only argument is if you are reading box scores. There is no other argument for Sevgi Uzun, for Sid Colson over Sevgi Uzun, if we're being honest.